All right. Hello, y'all. This is Ninja DC bringing you a special short discussion of our thoughts of the MLP movie. I guess the official movie from 2017, even though there was the original movie from the 80s. And then there was, actually, I think there's possibly more. I'm trying to remember if there's more than one from the original series, too.
Not one for the original series, but we had a lot of G3 movies.
Yeah, then there's also all the Equestria Girls films too. But this is the official MLP movie where they built up an entire new studio for.
Yay.
And so let's give our quick general thoughts. I guess the easiest way to probably summarize this is on a scale of 1 to 5. How do you rate this movie?
I give it about
being the best
4.5.
I would give it a 3.
Taylor?
3.5, I guess. Yeah.
And I'd probably have to give it like a 2.
I thought it was going to be the worst one. Dang it, second.
Maybe you could make a case.
Second.
Yeah, I give it I'll have to give it a 3. It's as well, though I'm close. It's like I'm in between because I don't like to do the 2 point. I don't like to do the 0.5. So I would have in between because I don't want to say 2 because I wouldn't say it's a bad movie. It's just sort of a bland movie overall. It's like that's my biggest complaint about it. So I wouldn't say necessarily 2. And also the animation is really, really bucking good. Like that's the one thing, like especially because before I brought up a discussion, because without spoiler discussion with all of you, I mentioned that I thought the Rainbow Rocks was a better film. And I did actually go back and watch it, and I still hold up that opinion that it is the best MLP movie. But going from the MLP movie animation to Rainbow Rocks, which is already above show animation, yeah, there's a big drop off. Whatever I say, the animation is top notch for like 2D animation right for the show. But the biggest thing is, like I said, I would still give it a 3 just because it's just sort of like like it feels. It's hard to describe. Like I think the biggest thing is it feels like it was made for younger audience and not what the show's audience is right now. I'm not talking about bronies or something like that, but I'm just talking the main target audience for MLP, excluding the brony community and all that, is sort of like upper, at least it currently is sort of like upper tween girls, I'd say. Young teens, like before it started a little younger when season 1, but like it's going to like, well, I'm just saying,
8
I would
to
say
12.
before.
Yeah,
I'd say 8 to 12 seems to target. This movie's target audience seems to be from like 4 to 7 or something like that. I mean, it's weird because there's also like very clear brony references and also some 1 or 2 dark moments that are not for that age group, but like the main tone is within that like 4 to 7 age group, which is, I say, makes it sort of feels jarring in a certain way.
If I have to be like not in between, I have to give it 4 out of 5.
Yeah, same 4.
Yeah.
No, I was saying I didn't. I said I just don't believe personally in 0.5. So you can get a 4.5 or 3.5 if you feel. That's just my personal thing. Is like I don't do it, but like if you feel it better describes you, go ahead.
No, but I was actually thinking about it that I want to give it a little bit more just because of the, as you said, the animation and also the songs. Like, yeah, we got this, we got this, you got this, and the open up your eyes song.
I loved that.
Oh, that was so great. And just like this, the Tempest, the evil doer, I really just like her design and the way that she's introduced and stuff like that. I know that most don't like this I don't know what he is, a troll goblin or what he is.
You mean the Stitch clone?
It's a Stitch, yeah. But yeah, I really actually thought that he was a kind of funny, and I really enjoyed the other characters as well. This smooth cat, and the what is this, parrots or
Captain
birds?
Solano.
Yeah, they have to be parrots because they're pirates.
Yep.
Hey, you know about Pittsburgh.
You know about
we're not pirates, we're adventurers.
Actually, pirates
I really enjoyed like the design of the leader and all of this. I just think like the story was a little, what is that, meh. I really liked the sea ponies and the underseer stuff. That was amazing, looking great and everything, and her turning into the griff pony to
Hippogriff,
be with her friends and stuff like that. I really felt for that. But Twilight stealing the orb instead of that was a little off, but I could actually see her panicking and being like, this would be the only way.
Well, I mean, if nothing else would have worked, to be fair, she would have had to do something like that at some point. There's no question that if nothing else worked, that would have been the right decision.
Well, speaking of that,
Now I got the discussion of riled. I'm sorry.
No, I just want to bring up like when it goes back to that Pearl thing, which is.
I like the stuff it can do.
I actually enjoyed that she tried to steal, because I felt that was sort of the way they're building up. It made sense for her in that role, which actually also added to her character. My biggest issue with the Pearl thing is it's essentially Chekhov's gun that never went off. Like they bring up like the whole thing about the pearls, like this thing that can save you, then like they didn't ever use besides transforming into toy merchandise.
But I really like the ending with Twilight making this resolution with it's Tempest that becomes Storm by protecting them.
Yeah. So everything had a payoff. I appreciated that. Okay. I mean, and like to what DC was saying, like I mean, I guess I can see why you'd say that. It seems like it's made for a younger demographic. They do stuff like that breakup plot that we've seen a bunch of times. It tries to throw a ton of songs at the screen. It seems like it's trying to trying to really eat through itself, like really fast, really high, fast paced. As much attention to how like sort of a natural progression is just like, I can see why you'd say that. I thought though that spoke to just being plain and simply like too eager to please, or just trying to
it didn't feel like
impact over and they were thinking that kids would love those moments. I mean, like I really could see, I mean, you're probably not far off, but I mean, I think more than anything they were going for like sheer impact over everything else.
But like going to quote like a nostalgia critic, the main issue I have with the story is it feels like it was written by charts. Like it was like, okay, we need to have this, we need to hit this area, we need to include this celebrity voice here and have this scene with them. This is like, it felt very like by the numbers, like this is a kids movie, like adaptation of like a show. Like it didn't feel like uniquely MLP, and it felt like it should have.
So it was like a textbook story, almost.
Yeah, it's a very textbook like kids story, which is often why they're often made for a younger audience. And the reason I hate that is like sort of I don't think the movie is bad. It just underwhelming is a good way for my feelings about it. And the main issue I have is like this movie could have been a great way to show people like, hey, this is why MLP is such a good show. I cannot justifiably say that.
That's going to be what it was too. Yeah, that exactly.
Because again, my biggest real only like, cause I sort of have issues like it's being a bland story, but like, okay, you have to make a simple story because like you can't cram like seasons worth of stuff into like a movie. Okay, I can somewhat forget, but the main issue I have is the main 6, besides Twilight, are so flanderized throughout the story. It's like, I'm not even saying they necessarily had to be impactful or stuff like that. Because I'm used to, like, I was talking to you about, I'm used to, like, the main 6 sort of being very sub-support to whatever Twilight is. The main issue, when uniquely this episode, is so many of the main 6 feel like they're just, like, cardboard cutouts there just to say, hey, I'm here. Mm-hmm. Like, Applejack and Fluttershy got, like, pretty much nothing. Fluttershy got one humorous scene, which I think you hopefully all got a reference to Dr. Fluttershy. But like Rarity was sort of in character, but like we just didn't get to see much of her to understand who she was. Rainbow Dash was pretty much just like, I'm awesome, I'm awesome, I'm awesome.
Her song was like, just that word.
And then Pinkie Pie was just like, it felt like
I would actually argue about Pinkie Pie. Actually, like, this is like the ride I would give it a 3 instead of, like, say, a 2, because I felt like in the movie Pinkie Pie was very much like the emotional core, while at the same time screwing up, like at the very beginning of the chasing with Tempest. It's kind of like, well, Pinkie Pie kind of sort of like goes at like whatever she felt like, and was pretty close to like the idea of like friendship that Twilight seemed to have lost upon actually being dealt with like a hard hand of like trusting strangers, and like seeing how that turned out. Basically, Twilight sort of doing like the action that she should have taken from the first Equestria Girls movie, which was like, hey, I wonder what would happen if we switched these around. I wonder what would have happened. But it's like, I just feel like the emotional core just gives this movie a bit more of like an edge, and like my perspective reminded me of like the old times of Pinkie Pie writing all the way back in like, say, season 3, season 2, season 4. Just
not season 1.
Oh yeah, season 1. I can't forget about season 1.
One of my favorite episodes are from those seasons. We'll say that.
Yeah, like it reminds me of the early days. That's what I'm getting at with Pinkie.
But well, I mean, she had her. I won't say deny Pinkie Pie had some good moments where she was Pinkie Pie, but other times you just felt forced that she was the problem. Like, again, like I told you already, but like it felt too much like this wasn't Pinkie Pie. This felt like Philly Vanilli Pinkie Pie throughout it.
I thought she was hilarious in Philly Vanilli. This drove me up the wall more often than not.
Because like the one moment that they like literally was like had me just literally face palm myself in the theater was like when she had the map glitter coated and all that to like the mountain. I was like, really? You really had to go that far?
I actually thought it was cute with the map, with the small hearts and the ponies.
Me too.
Oh no!
I thought I forget what Pinkie Pie did do it. Like, oh, of course they have a map there so the villains can follow them. How else are we going to force this along to the next step without actually trying in the writing department?
I actually think like one of my minor gripes was that they had this Sia pony that was voiced by Sia, but what does she do? In the start she's there, and in the last part she sings a small song, and that is that. She
sings a mediocre Sia song, and not that Sia songs are mediocre, that it was mediocre for Sia.
Yeah, it's not good, no.
I have to say, like, that literally was like, that's probably like of all the, like, I hate saying the main 6 were flanderized, I feel, in my opinion, besides Twilight. But all the new characters I felt were very well like introduced interesting characters, except for Sia, because she's literally exists just for that final song.
Yeah,
that's her whole purpose throughout it. And
I do like her design, but yeah, she's like filler.
Sure. Yeah, well, how about the moment where she comes in? There's like, well, it's a microcosm of what I really didn't go for much in this movie. Just there is no transition to it. Like after the moment before that with Pinkie Pie has a lukewarm rehash of her gag from Philly Vanilli. Like, Twilight, this is the single most important defining moment of your life. Everyone is going to judge you by it, so don't worry about it. And then they just start singing that song from there, which doesn't go at all with that moment, which they don't transition it all into, and then once they stop singing the song, hey, let's do the part now where Twilight is all worried about impressing the Sia pony. It just goes by it's like, all right, we did that. After the Sia pony bit, hey, look, bad guy. It's like, it's toned down. It does not go at all with what happened before. There is no setup, no transition. It is a slapdash overamped movie.
Also, going to the bad guys.
I was going to make a quick interjection about when Pinkie Pie said this. Looking back on it, it could be a bit of like a fourth wall break. Like, Twilight, this is your biggest moment ever. You're gonna either be shocking these beauties or people in this case, or not, like a representation of the movie itself.
Did he mute? Oh no.
What?
Nothing. But I actually like more the Samuel L. Jackson pony. Don't tell me that you did not see that.
I saw it.
I was just like, that's amazing. I like that better than Sia.
But going back to the villain, like you mentioned the villains, and I mean, actually, I'm going to say Tempest is possibly the. I'm pretty confident saying she is the best part of the movie.
Oh yeah.
But overall, my main issue with the villains is like they just come in and take over all of Equestria within like 5 minutes. It's like, really?
Yeah.
It's like I can understand it was like some dark overlord from the past or something was like he just felt like really all that the Storm King, at least from what we're led from the movie, had is like he has some like a somewhat sizable army, but he gets the magic from the staff, which he doesn't have yet. So how could he just conquer all of and it's also makes it feel like Equestria is more or less just Canterlot because remember, like, this is an entire nation of like seemingly millions of ponies with like a New York equivalent. All this, like, it's like, oh yeah, all that's conquered within 5 minutes. Like, really?
And also, again, no guard ponies. None at all.
I seen that in some reviews where like they bring up like there is no guard pony. It's like, like it's distracting.
It's so distracting. It's like it's a movie event. We can actually go for the violence a bit, We're gonna go PG, but no guards. We took the Twilight approach of having no guards at our castle. What?
I mean, I feel like it's kind of a mistake a lot of like opening action, like round one sort of action scenes make in general. That to build up the villains, they just have a whatever you do doesn't count device that just automatically wins it for them. Like instead of taking the time to sketch it out, like craft it out, show how the good guy's strength is relevant, what it does, and then show how the bad guys, what they're able to do stuff that's even better and to beat it back in like exciting, interesting ways. It's just they throw a magic crystal ball at the princesses and they're 100% helpless.
Yeah, I really like that. I really like this ball of whatever that turns them into stone, because I was thinking about the way that they turned Discord into stone. It's like payback almost.
Yeah, from the elements of harmony to a random unexplained weapon ball.
Yeah.
Weapon ball with no lore that will probably be explored.
But it looks amazing.
I think they explained it in the prequel comics.
Of course
they went into that.
Of course they did, yeah.
So what was it in the prequel comics?
I didn't actually read it. But I just saw someone comment that it was explained in the comics.
I'm sorry, like the tie-in book you wrote to make some extra money does not make your movie a better or worse movie.
Oh yeah, like let me disagree with it, because that's the same issue I had with like Star Wars: The Force Awakens. It's like, here's like this entire backstory of like the New Republic and all that. We're not going to tell you about that. Instead, we're just going to skip over all those details.
Yeah.
And it's like sort of the same thing here. Like if that's the case, where it's like, oh, here's how they did this and that. It's like it. And it like there's so many simple solutions. Like, hey, if you want to just keep it simple, like it was just this force that took over Equestria, say they capture a princess and say, hey, you all obey us now, or we're going to start breaking some statues. There. That's the believable ways and like how they conquer them. But like, nope, they don't do that. Just like everyone's all when they captured Canterlot, so they all captured all of Equestria. It's like
it's also like limiting the scale of like Equestria, even though they're trying to make a movie, but still at the same time, it's like you do realize that you over glorify Canterlot into making it basically like planes of houses on like some of them being elevated just by some stairs, and it's like, yeah, Canterlot doesn't look that good even before they got conquered. Sorry. But going back to like the idea of like the new characters. Yeah. Like the only one I felt like was actually interesting to even think about then was actually just Capper. Like the thing about
Capper and Tempest.
Yeah, Capper and Tempest. I mean, like basically everyone else. Let's see, Grubber. Okay, it seemed like he's supposed to be the surrogate Spike to Tempest's Twilight. But guess what they do?
I had somebody bring that up to me.
But guess what they do with him at the third act? Him just being alarmed that like parents and such, but that was it. No resolution, no him in like at the end of the story. And I'm just like, okay. So we just hyped up that character for nothing.
I felt like he was just there for comic relief.
Yeah, he was,
Yeah, like when it comes down to like when it felt like the plot was cookie cutter, he just felt like the generic like bad guy that's sort of pathetic that makes all the other bad guys seem less threatening for the kids. Like
maybe
a lot of people
are afraid to put it on Spike.
Creeper. I think they played Spike in this movie, but actually apparently Michael Pena's dialogue for whatever Stitch Badger's name was again, something or Rubber. Okay, yeah. Apparently he improvised most of it, which I love it when you let an actor do that. I didn't think he was funny at all. I thought he was completely pointless and unfunny. And like somebody brought up that like he seemed like the bad guy's Spike, or at least that he could have been, but then was disappointed that instead of like having any moment with Tempest at the end that confirms that, he just kind of disappears. And so yeah, that's why I didn't ever see it really as that. I kind of thought it was more like, give them a guy who contributes nothing, like Iago the parrot. Well, heck, Iago the parrot contributes something. Heck, even in like a bad movie like Rockadoodle, that little gangly pygmy owl sidekick who has a Swiss Army knife, he contributes something. This was a pointless character.
I agree. That's what I was trying to say, but you said it a lot better. Continuing on, Storm King is literally a lamer version of Hades, going with the trope of Sombra, but like on a colonizing scale. Like the colonizing scale was like, it was interesting, but they didn't do anything with it, like adding to his character. And I'm just like, oh my God, you could have had something with like the idea of like he was taking over countries outside of Equestria. You could have done something that would have added something to his character, like one scene of him just doing something. Yeah. That's all we needed.
I don't like that either.
Also like going sort of into but also going into that, like, because I said that was one issue I had. He didn't feel like threatening until he got the staff. And even going with that staff, the resolution, the final like fight and all that was like, oh, let's just try to get this magic stick. It was underwhelming for like the resolution. And like I said, compared to Rainbow Rocks' resolution, like this was a very mediocre resolution. Like, oh, let's just try to get the magic staff.
What about Friendship Games? Friendship Games is definitely better than My Little Pony movie.
Yeah. I actually thought that the Sea Pony was more threatening. The mother, when she goes like, you don't deserve to be, ponies or water.
Queen Nova.
I was just like, they're going to drown if you're turning them into ponies.
I know. I thought for a moment, oh my God, they're killing them.
The Storm King wasn't really not very threatening. Actually, did anybody in that moment where he's like, switching the day and night, just like playing with the staff. Day, night, day, night, day, night.
Yeah,
Everybody else want that moment to end with Tempest cutting him off. You're like, jeez, oh man, for crying out loud, I've been serving an idiot. And then they do the turn on each other and fight thing.
No.
We lost Ninja again.
Okay.
Like it just reminded me of like that one scene from like Ferngully 2 where like they're find the fairies find like the light and it's like sun on, sun off. It's like that just reminded me of that scene. Is it's like sun up, sun down, sun up, sun down. It's like like it was funny at first, but like they drug it out way too long.
Going back to Queen Novo, I also think she was pretty much a nothing character from my perspective of the movie.
I did not like her because it's not that I don't mind that she was like basically cynical or stuff like that. But that's an interesting route to take. Go for it. But you see, of all the new guest roles, she felt the most phoned in of any of them. I mean, I swear, like she literally could have recorded her. She literally could have recorded her lines over the phone. It felt like that to me.
No, for me, it was more about like the type of character she was playing. Basically, the Whoopi Goldberg type. And I think I've just now gotten sick of it.
What is the daughter called again?
Oh, Skystar. Princess Sky.
Yeah, I like Skystar.
Skystar is like
but
the best, yeah.
But I really like think like I also like the Queen a little bit more. But as I said, the only way, like she's more threatening than the real villain, so I don't think like she was phoned in. I just think like there was so much that they put into this. They should have, thought about other stuff or doing in other ways.
Actually, going back to that, because that brings me up something I mentioned earlier. Is like, they sort of introduced a pearl and never won anything. Here's like a simple solution to that. Like, hey, at the end when like all the hippogriffs come back, like at the end, how about they're the ones that fix Equestria after all the things? It doesn't this magic.
Nice, yeah.
It would have had a use for a pearl. Like they would have had Chekhov's gun. It would have actually been used. They would have had a purpose besides coming to the ground. Skystar. So like, that would have been. It just felt like there's so many like simple fixes that the story could have had, but like they didn't want to be like. They didn't want to like take any risk or anything. There's just by the numbers paint, but except for like for a kids film, like anime movie. Because we used to get a lot of these kinds of like cheap sort of direct to DVD, but going to sort of theater anime movies that like are very big during the 80s and early 90s and stuff. This felt very much like that.
Yeah, maybe that is why I like it so much.
The equivalent of an anime filler movie.
I also like continuing on with like my thoughts, like even though I said like Skystar was like my second favorite, it doesn't mean that I treat her the same level as as Kappa or like in respect. Like Skystar is more of like similar. She's just a little bit above the other guest stars, except for like the villain. It just felt like a lot of nothing. And the only thing interesting about her was really the whole plot was about the sea ponies being hippogriffs. Yeah. Like that was the only thing that got a big emotional reaction from me because I didn't figure that out from like the one time I saw a trailer.
Then,
I actually figured it out after they were like going from the where they have griffins before or what, and then went down to the where the sea ponies was. I was just like, they have been griff ponies before.
It's like for me, my reaction was like, oh my god, is this Legend of Zelda up in here? Like we're getting a lot of Zora evolution.
She's evolving.
No. It just felt like Kappa was the only one that actually felt like interesting both in voice talent, combine it with the interesting song, and then also combine it with the fact that like a little bit of a character arc that he goes through. It's like the only point of contention is like, okay, this might actually seem like the basic building blocks for a character,
I liked his character. I didn't care for his song very much. I thought it was yet another, hey, let's put this in here instead of like having to worry ourselves writing actual dialogue.
I can also get that. I can also get that. I can also get that very well. It's just yeah, the first half of the movie was just jam-packed full of songs, just expediting a lot.
I mean,
but like people like just going with the songs, like a lot of other people said like, oh yeah, the songs are great. It's like, again, compared to Rainbow Rocks, like the only two songs that really felt great to me or good to great were Tempest song and then the final finale song. It's like, yeah, those are the only two that really felt like on par or possibly above like the Rainbow Rock songs. And
I just get this stuck in my head. You got this. I have no recollection of Rainbow Rocks right now songs.
I mean, I have the Rainbow Rock songs. I think a lot of them are less memorable than people give them credit for, except for "Awesome as I Wanna Be." But I don't know what song in this movie was even good besides the Tempest song. Like, I guess the Sia song was okay, and they've got the beat, but I mean, I don't know how you can defend any of these songs as anything.
I like them.
I mean, like for me, like the worst part of it is like with going with like the theme of music, like is reflected in like my least favorite song of the movie, and that would be the Awesome song in this one.
Yeah.
And the characters that I least like the most is the Pirate Parrots. Just,
well, I think
I like those. I think they're funny.
What? I've got a great reason that you should turn against the Storm King like you wanted to and be pirates again, because then you'll be awesome. Not because there's some characters who are going to take him down now, so you have a chance to overthrow him. No, because you'll be awesome.
Yeah.
I just want to go back to that. Like, I like the characters, but I felt like their arc felt like, okay, we need to fast forward through this. That felt like that whole pirate thing was like, hey, like, let's just speed along. It's like, how? Song! And then it's like, yeah.
So I felt
this is Magical Mystery Cure.
The last act.
This is Magical Mystery Cure all over again. Oh, no, actually, I'm feeling it as a reviewer. Oh, no.
I mean, okay, I'm a Magical Mystery Cure denier, hater, whatever you want to call it. I actually approve of Magical Mystery Cure more than I approve of this movie.
I also like Mystery Magical better than this, but it says.
I mean, I think it's shamelessly is what it is, and like there's at least entertainment to be had from that. This movie seems to think it's doing stuff. It's not. It's like it keeps trying to be just like well, Brad Jones. He, without being at all specific, he said this movie is like drinking sugar water. It's like a girl jumping on her bed for hours. It's like being hit over the head with a bag of sugar that told you absolutely nothing. Watching this movie, I was thinking, wow, exactly. That is what this feels like. It feels like it doesn't care. It feels like it's just being hyper. Tastes like flavorlessly.
I was also thinking of a scene where Rainbow Dash makes the sonic rainbow and this rainbow around the pirate ship. I was just like, what? Rainbow Dash, is she not smarter, or was it just the heat of the moment, or what happened there?
It's a good moment in the trailer. Like they're on this ship, like that. It looks like it's sort of a night shot. That she does the sonic rainbow. I mean, I was like,
it looks amazing. I will agree, but
kind of castle in the sky like moment where we're on this rip-roaring trip through the clouds. There's maybe some magical phenomena happening. We need the sonic rainbow for some reason. Instead, it's a facepalm moment.
Yeah.
God, why? Yeah. Why? Like literally, like even if I don't like Rainbow, at least don't write her like that. Jesus. It's like she's supposed to be like brash and such. She's not supposed to be the idiot of the group. That's Pinky's job. No, just kidding. No, really, but like Rainbow, it's just like the Sonic Rainbow doesn't even look good in comparison with like the dreary background.
Well, I think it looked amazing, but I just was like, there's no reason why. The only reason why we have that is so the evildoers can see where they are.
And also trailer fuel.
Yeah, of course. Are we slowly going fourth end or?
No promises.
Oh.
I
thought you liked the end.
What? Oh, I thought you meant the end of this podcast, not the end of the movie. Yeah. I mean, the movie, like like the first act would come to the end of that, like where the main six get thrown off the bridge. I was like, okay, in an hour and a half, I'm going to be sitting in front of my camera saying, okay, that movie, it started out a little tightly wound, a little overamped, but then it settled in and it started doing what it can do, and I liked it. It maybe wasn't great, but I liked it. And then Rainbow Dash fixes the pirate parrots' problems with a song, and the main six don't help them even a little bit, and that exactly what they were afraid of happens, and they're still on the main six's side afterwards, because I don't know why. Then I stepped into the bathroom, and I was like, okay, when I go back in there, this movie and I are going to start over from square one, and I'm going to let the past be the past, just give it a chance to build something good, just separate from that. And then the main six fixate solving the sea pony problem with a song and a solution that's not even a solution. Like, hey, we played some games with you, so that makes you want to change your policy on protecting your citizens and help us, right? And the breakup with Twilight, and I'm like, all right, I gotta stop making excuses for this movie. And then shortly after that, though, with the third act is the part that I'm just kind of indifferent to. I'm like, well, yeah, too little, too late, but this is passably okay.
I think the final act with the battle was probably the best part of the movie.
Yeah, definitely.
And I
had that Fluttershy moment. It had a really funny Pinkie Pie moment. I'll give it, like, where she hands a guy a box and then pops out of it. Like, that got me.
But like,
okay,
not just because of like it had a Fluttershy moment, because I would say it's the best, but like the pacing I felt actually got good on the final part. Where like it felt like a normal like MLP episode pace or something like that, where it wasn't too fast or too like slow. Like a lot of the middle part just felt dragged out, oddly enough. But like this, like so, like it felt on pace at the final part. But yeah, like even then, it wasn't. Some of the things weren't like a lot of there's many finales that had better like climaxes than the climax. Like, hey, let's get the magic rod. Like,
how about now?
The main six are
fire breath comes in handy. Like now,
no, actually, that was a funny moment.
Like I'm okay with him. Like, yeah, he burns a henchman to get away with him at one point. I'm like, okay, fine, but okay, now suddenly Spike is a flamethrower that you can get past guards with. Like after 7 seasons,
you finally decide to actually amp up the violence.
I mean, he should have been all along, but I'm like, okay, now just because. Twilight, she saves Tempest, one getting the staff, probably could have saved Tempest anyway, and instead it's like she would have probably doomed her. I'm like, I mean, like I said, kind of indifferent. It's like, okay, on one hand, I do kind of like it. Okay, Twilight does something sincere for Tempest, and it provides that final nudge to make that noble sacrifice at the end. But I mean, on the other hand, okay, like do the emotional thing over the thing that makes sense, and like not throwing any like complexities in it to like, okay, maybe this does make more sense, or maybe this is still the right thing in spite of all that. Just like, no, the typical, I did the right thing.
Hey, you want to know something really weird about this movie?
What?
Most of the characters are avian based. It's weird. It's really weird when I see a lot of beaks on a lot of these special characters. It's like, why do we have a cat? Like, it's like it's like weird balancing. It's like we're supposed to show all these diverse creatures and stuff, but then you give us multiple birds.
Well, I mean, hippogriffs, I can understand why they want those.
I'm not complaining about the hippogriffs. Like, I mean, like
I actually think that the cat was supposed to be almost like the fox from Pinocchio.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
I mean, I get the general type. I haven't seen
Capper, you mean?
Yeah, Capper.
Yeah.
I
can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tay-Diggs was another good part of the movie. Like,
or a furry version of what is this called? Captain Jack from the
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
From the Billy Joel song, of course. Well, Captain Jack can get you high tonight and take you to your special island.
But I also really like the ending. But I was a little like it's going a little overboard with the staff and stuff like that. And I was thinking about the episode where Twilight drinks the potion and goes back and sees stuff. I don't know why.
Wait, what?
I was just like, why does it have to be like her getting her hooves on the staff? I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it too much.
Turn the three princesses back from stone.
Yeah, but I was like, shouldn't they be able to do that with the rainbow power? Or I don't know.
We don't even know anything else about the rainbow power. It was just shown once in reality in the season 4 finale, and then shown in the dream world in Do Princesses Dream of Magic Sheep, and they never even brought it up again. Oh God, it's just no one.
So still a mystery with that. But, yeah. Well, they couldn't use those. They couldn't use Discord, who I guess was just taking a nap through all of this.
Yeah.
Boy.
Our characters.
That's actually the one thing. That's one thing that sort of disappointed me. Is like I expected Discord literally just to pop in after the credits and be like, "Did I miss something?" Basically quoting Luna from like Cancelot Wedding verbatim.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
We lost nowhere again.
Oh my god! I didn't see those moments again. Oh god!
Your paradigm really dead off.
Be hit by a crystal ball to save Fluttershy's life or something like that, and then at the end they're like, "Okay, maybe we can't get the stone, but we can still break Discord out." And then he comes out and then tells the Storm King, who's in the middle of wielding his staff at full power, "You, sir, are not funny."
That reminds me, like, it's Derpy that is saved Twilight, right? I actually thought it was Rainbow Dash first. So when I saw her flying with the others, I was just like, what? Didn't you just turn
like at first I thought it was that. Yeah, at first I thought it was Rainbow too, and I thought it was just like they're going with the Rainbow went so fast that she basically just left a stone impression of herself, sort of thing. And then it's like got close up with the fake horns, like, oh no, that was Derpy. He's like, oh, that was unexpected.
Why would she go? Oh well, she's a fan favorite, but elsewise I don't see why.
Well, I mean, I don't know how Derpy got there. Like, did Rainbow just leave her in the
because
way?
It's Derpy.
Twilight, no, take Derpy instead. I mean, I can only assume Derpy was like standing behind Twilight or something.
I think you could see Derpy running towards, running towards them at that moment.
But why should she say she have like no connection with them besides us having her as a fan favorite?
I don't know.
Well, Derpy did dress in a Twilight costume for Halloween.
But that's a little. I don't know.
Derpy is awesome. She's just that loyal to her princesses.
Sure, whatever. But I also really like this.
If that's what they meant for her to be doing, trying to save Twilight, but probably not. But yeah.
Yeah, I also like the scene with Twilight coming through the clouds and stuff like that. But I was like, it's a little bit, what is that, biblical also? Or maybe I'm overthinking too much.
Oh yeah, oh hey look, Twilight's pointing at Jesus.
Yeah. Oh, but we're ending off now, or
I guess let's get the final thoughts.
I think I'm done.
I think a lot of the problems that people have this movie stems from it was fast paced, there was a lot crammed in, but not a lot of involvement from all the characters, that it just needed more time and more writing, from more establishment for these characters, that
it's certainly not the best representation for My Little Pony as a whole. I first, like, my initial reaction to it was like, this felt like season 4 writing, but now it's like there's a lot of holes in that statement now. It's like, you have one part of the equation there, and now, like, since the movie's over, hopefully, like, some of those writers can come back to write for season 8 and such, Megan, we need you. Write Twilight episodes again. Yes. Just overall, this movie was a decent attempt at, like, trying to, like, make something that could apply itself to, like, a bit more of an audience. It's not going to be the worst movie of 2017, but now I can see where the non-bronies are coming from now. It's just like a minefield just getting through, and it's not even like the best the show offers.
I mean, and I'm like, this is not one that I'm like defiantly lashing out. I wanted this movie to be good. I wanted it to, show like what it is that people rally behind in this show. And I mean, and I already knew going in that it wasn't going to be that, because the reviews were mixed and everything. But I really did not, especially on like, what was that, like 55% of the time, I really did not expect to be having this reaction to that. I did not expect to be coming out of the theater thinking it was lucky to have a score that high.
I mean, because like there are mixed reviews, because somebody said like, there's the one that said like, actually going back to one that had a very negative review, was like I forget what cinema something. It was that wasn't even it's not. It was like actual. No, it wasn't even cinema something. It was like these, I forget who they are. It's one, they're like more professional critics, and they gave it like 1 and 2. And like what?
Saying the Emoji Movie is worse, or the Emoji Movie is better and stuff.
No, they didn't. They didn't say like.
Movie.
But
as
like
bad as that is,
the only person in this world that likes that movie.
It's not true as it probably is to say the Emoji Movie is better. Like,
but we were not supposed to talk about that.
If you know nothing about this franchise, I could almost see you having that reaction, because like stuff like well, heck, how stuff keeps coming genuinely out of nowhere, even for fans with just like no sense of pacing and stuff. There's a lot of stuff that they throw into that we know how it works because we watch the show, but like the song, for example, where Spike just randomly eats a gem, if you don't watch the show and know that that's something he does, I could see it playing like one of the stupidest things, like, hey, let's have the dragon decide he wants to eat a gem now, because like to some people who don't know how the show works at all, I can see it coming across like it doesn't have a brain in its head.
But the main quote, like they said, which I feel summarizes this movie, is the problem with the movie, because I disagree with there, because they gave it like literally 1 out of 10s. They gave it like a 1 and like a 2.5. They were like very below the critic rating. But the one quote they said, which I was like, yeah, that pretty much summarizes a lot of the movie, is like, the problem with the movie is it was not like, the movie wasn't meant for new people, and it wasn't really meant for fans. It was sort of in between, where like you needed some context from the show to get the movie. But if you watch the show, it didn't really add anything to the show. So it's like this weird hybrid in between that doesn't satisfy anybody.
I liked it.
Well, I mean, fans of the show have been pretty forgiving of a lot of episodes and even whole seasons anyway. So yeah, I feel like among the Brony fans, they're maybe not like defiantly attacking the mainstream, but I have a feeling fans in general can be like, yeah, I'm glad they did that. I'm happy I saw that. I mean, it wasn't Pixar, sure, but it was fine.
I still think it looks better.
Yeah, I'm the guy who gave thumbs up to all the Equestria girls except sort of the 4th one. I think when we did our react to that, I was like, was the this one worse, or was the first movie worse? And I think since then I've decided that first movie was better. That, like, not even sure I approve. I don't know if I like this movie better than any of the Equestria Girls.
I would say I think maybe one, just because one was very. It's also fell into a trap where it felt like a very generic, like following
there
like
were pandering moments in one,
end.
no question, but I felt like something was accomplished in one. I felt like I cared what Twilight was going through in one. I don't know what there is to care about. I mean, I guess there's kind of like how they forced Twilight to just passively like growl and roll her eyes at stuff like Rainbow Sonic Moon Boom. So the dramatic betrayal at the end seems oh so believable, just like the completely melodramatic breakup. But I mean, like I just don't care for most of this movie, and I'm trying to, and like I was like Equestria Girls, I felt like, geez, you know what? I'll be darned. For as much as I want to like strangle the moments that feel like a Disney Channel original movie knockoff, I'm feeling some of the charm from the show, some of the charm I didn't get from, what was it, Magical Mystery Cure, watch it right before this movie. I'm like, I like you, but you're making it so hard. Like, okay, but no, I'll stop cutting off people who respond to what I just said. Like, please continue.
But forget who else wants to give their final thoughts here. I guess is everyone.
I'm completely tapped out.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it's starting to get late, at least on our end, and I think it's starting to get in the morning towards Day Lover's end. But overall, like, again, my thoughts are like, I felt this was an okay movie, but like, it's sort of also following what a lot of the reviewers say. It's like the problem with like okay things is like it's not bad enough where you can like enjoy hating it, but it's not good enough where you can actually genuinely enjoy it. This is just sort of like an okay, like it passes, but like it's not. It's like you'll just forget about it. Like like everybody that's not in MLP will forget about. Even the people in MLP will probably forget about. Like it's like, oh yeah, they had that movie that had great animation. That's probably the one thing we're going to remember. Is like, oh, this is what we can possibly get in a future movie, or like if the show changes styles or something like that.
Oh yeah,
I guess
there is one thing I like to say. I don't think I didn't say this, but I think I really didn't like any of the music in this movie.
What?
Like,
really?
like I don't have like the impulse to actually buy any of the soundtrack. Like, look at the Equestria Girls movie. I at least bought one song from like each of them.
But I don't remember any of the. Maybe it's because I just saw the movie. I got that stupid song stuck in my head.
Well, that's probably like
that's the only line I could even understand.
No, it's not helping. I still got you got this. We got this on my head.
Actually, in the worst sense of the word.
It's catchy in the worst sense because that song's beat originally comes from "We Got the Beat."
Yeah, I know. I'm so 80s it hurts.
Well, no, the movie actually opens with "They've Got the Beat." The "You've Got This" happens after that, doesn't it?
I don't remember.
But
oh god, the song's not too.
All right, but I guess see y'all next week, or for Voltron, I think should be our next thing.
Voltron.